All right. It says we are live.
We are live.
Well, hello, everyone. So we're going to give everybody about 5 minutes to settle in here, and then we will get started with our topic for the night. Let's see who we have. We got unfinished project says problem. Landon Custom Classic says quit creating problems. Amber says challenge as always. And then Scarlett said opportunity as always. Buff's here. Well, you were in here pretty early too, Buff. He says, look at all the partiers in here early.
Jacob with Busted Grill Garage is here.
We got Jacob, from Busted Grill Garage. Quality Control's here. She's feeling a little under the weather, so she's probably not going to be too active in the chat here. And she also wanted to say when we get done, she's going to compile all the websites that we talk about tonight and put them in the description of this live. So there'll be links if anybody wants to go to them. That way the websites will be linked. We got Turbo Tom 416s here. Jeffrey from Johnson's Speed and Marine is here. So how's your week been, Chad?
Busy and eventful and it's just I've been on kind of a good upswing, and typically in my life when that happens, I get really my spidey senses get tingly. It's like, okay, everything's going good. When's it gonna fall on its face? But you know what? I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna keep on this wave and ride it out, and hopefully it just takes me to another wave, because we've had a really good week this last week. So
good.
I don't know how. I mean, going into that, it's not really on our topic, but we could get into it later on, maybe in the after hours or something like that. But yeah, it's been a really good week. We've had some good stuff for the channel, good stuff, not really pertaining to the channel, but my life and everything, just everything's going good.
That sounds like like you said, a good topic for the after hours show.
Yeah.
Turbo Tom says he got the go ahead to bring the Model T to the No Name Nationals.
Oh, so I'm gonna ask: is it like a stock original type Model T, or is it like a T bucket roadster or something like that? I don't know. I dig both of them.
Oh, so we have a couple.
So how has your week been, Travis?
So my week, going back to the last live, so not really like a calendar week here, was really, really, really good for the last part of last week. And we were making progress on projects and getting things done. And then Friday, I woke up with a little bit of a sore throat and I was a little bit congested. Saturday, I was feeling really bad. I ended up not doing anything at all Saturday. And then I felt pretty bad again on Sunday. And we had to help my daughter with a college project. So we did that Sunday. And then yesterday, I got to feeling a lot better, and so far, been pretty productive this week. Hasn't been stellar, but we've been getting stuff done, crossing off that list.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when you get to feel a little down or not down, but under the weather stuff, it's good just to take a break.
Yep.
I'm real bad about pushing through that. And then it makes it worse.
Yeah, I did come out to the shop Saturday morning, and I'm like, I'm not even feeling it. I'm not going to suffer.
Yeah.
Shellman's here.
Hey, Shellman.
Stopped by to say hello on his break. Mrs. Squarebody made it.
Yeah. If anybody's not familiar with that, Shellman is my youngest son, which he's not. He'll be 20 this year. Man, that makes me feel old. My baby boy's gonna be 20 this year, and Mrs. Squarebody, obviously, is my wife.
Turbo Tom says it's stock, just like his granddad, or just like granddad, or great granddad left it in 1965. Awesome. That'll be cool. I can't wait to see that at No Name Nationals.
Yeah. I really get into the original stuff like that, because you get to see where it all started.
Yep.
The technology back then, and yeah, it's really cool to see some of those original Model A's, Model T's, this original cars from the early 1900s.
Yeah. Twisted Mopar Garage is here. Hello. So I guess it's been about 5 minutes, been a little over 5 minutes. We will announce our topic. If you haven't seen it, our topic for tonight is we're going to share some of our tips and tricks, as well as some places where we shop to try to keep our projects rolling on a tight budget, where we can save money and kind of some, I guess, just some pointers to maybe think outside the box in different ways to try to help your projects not consume all of your financial bad decisions.
Yeah, that's the tough part, trying not to let it consume all of it.
But I think since whenever we're on your channel, you make me go first, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh, well, thanks. Well, as far as I've been trying to think about this, I didn't really. I mean, like I said, I've been busy. I've had a good week, a busy week, which is good, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to focus on this. But it's my main source for parts, especially for what I've been doing lately, is Summit Racing.
Yeah.
They usually have what I want in stock, and when I order it, it's here within 3 days.
Yeah.
There's been a rare occasion that I think I still got one. I don't even remember what it is now. A part on back order. It's just something I think I ordered. I think obviously it wasn't that important because I don't remember even what it was. But they sent me an email wanting to know if I still wanted to receive that part whenever they get it. I said yes. So, but Summit Racing is actually probably my go-to, especially for go fast parts. As far as regular repair parts, I try to go with my local auto parts store, but here lately, the last few times, it's just too expensive. They're too high.
Yeah.
So I've started using Rock Auto. I know a lot of people use Rock Auto for a long time, and I don't know why I haven't. But Rock Auto has been where I've ordered the last bit of the, I guess, stock replacement type parts, like ball joints, tie rods, stuff like that. And I know Facebook Marketplace is a really good place to find parts, but I don't know. I find stuff on there, but then by the time of trying to get a hold of the person, find the time to pick it up, it's like, well, it doesn't really work out for me sometimes, unless it's a really, really good deal. Flea markets, swap meets, those are some of the other good places. I mean, you can't just say, well, I need this, and then go to a flea market. Just drive to a flea market or swap meet, but you got to wait till they're there. But my favorite things to look for at like swap meets, automotive swap meets, is like headers. I've got several sets of headers just hanging from the rafters because you can find them cheap at the swap meets, and you don't know really what they fit sometimes. But it's always nice to have an extra set of headers laying around because they've come in handy with my trucks that I've got, because luckily I've found all the ones I've picked up here and there have worked.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah, that pretty much covers my bases. Of course, I guess my other part source is the Field of Dreams out here behind the shop.
Yeah.
I'm needing parts. I just go out there and see what I got before I start looking on the interwebs. But
so I'll go. We'll catch up on the chat real quick. So Buff said so many bad decisions. And then Twisted Mopar Garage says he doesn't look at them as bad decisions. And I mean, I guess if you're not going hungry, it's not really bad decisions. It's what makes you happy. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of a running joke as far as being bad decisions, because sometimes what we're doing with our vehicles aren't, it's not a necessity. But with what we're doing as content creators, most of it isn't a necessity thing. It's for fun. It's part of our passion, part of our lives. So, and some of our purchases are maybe not the best decisions.
Buff says his parts bin seems to be whatever junk he has laying around, and I can understand that. I try to shop in that cart as much as I can. I unfortunately, and I'm starting to gain a bigger collection of junk here, but in Colorado, I mean, we had parts piles everywhere from years of just messing with different stuff and saving it. I just haven't been doing it long enough in one area here to really have gathered up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked a lot about that. You got so much stuff left in Colorado.
Yeah.
And, a lot of stuff that you've sold throughout the years that may or may not remember if you still have it or if you sold it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same way, that I thought, I'll think, oh man, I've got this. I'm going to go find it. And then I can't find it. And then I'll remember I either already used it or I sold it or gave it away or something.
Yeah. I run into that now and then, or like here, I'll be planning on using something. I get back to Colorado and I'm like, crap, I sold that. Or, oh yeah, I remember I used that on something else. And I'm slowly, I'm starting to gather up a little bit of stuff here. So it's getting better, but
yeah.
Amber says the cool part about Rock Auto is the different tiers of the quality. And that's what I was going to compound on what you were saying about Rock Auto. That's my favorite part about Rock Auto is like when you go there, you can buy the dirt cheap bottom of the barrel, whatever. But a lot of times, especially on the more popular stuff, you have options to get the better quality and even sometimes up into the performance stuff. And my biggest thing with Rock Auto is the shipping can sometimes be brutal. One, because like you get a couple of things and you get it ships from 5 different warehouses. Well, each warehouse has its own individual shipping charge. And so sometimes, especially if you're buying where I shop down in that bottom of the barrel dirt cheap stuff, sometimes the shipping is more on each item than the part itself. And that sometimes just doesn't work out.
Yeah. And that's where shopping around, if you have the time, comes in handy. The last instance that I can remember on my part was on our 2005 Tahoe. I needed to do pitman arm, either arm pitman arm, the either arm bracket, and I rebuilt the power steering pump or power steering box, the gearbox. And I priced all that stuff. Well, I couldn't find Rock Auto was actually the only place I found that had the and I mean I looked hard enough, but they're the only ones that I could find at that time have the rebuild kit for the power steering box.
Yeah.
But I priced the Moog heavy duty stuff through my local O'Reilly's, and it was ridiculous. So I checked on Summit, my next go to, and it was a little bit cheaper. Not quite half, but Rock Auto was pretty much half the price on all the parts compared to O'Reilly's.
Yeah.
And the shipping wasn't really that bad on it. So yeah, I mean, I saved a lot of money on that project by going through Rock Auto. It's just a matter of, you know, shopping around.
I order quite a bit from Rock Auto when I have time to wait for it. Just because, like I said, the availability of parts. But one that like Auto Salvage Outlaw said here, sometimes the cheaper part at Rock Auto is better quality than any of the parts you can get at the parts house. And I like, sometimes you'll find deals where you can buy name brand stuff from Rock Auto cheaper than you can buy the whatever house brand at AutoZone or O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Amber said, "Isn't it actually labeled good, better, best?" Yes. I don't think it's like economy, good, and daily driver is like there, and then performance is the really high end stuff.
I guess, I mean, kind of basically good, better, best. Yeah, it does have different tiers. So, and that does help because, you know, some projects, you know, I'm not worried about putting the high quality stuff in. I just want to get it together.
Yeah.
A budget deal. And then some stuff, you know, I do want the high quality stuff. So it depends. I was looking at you got Buff's comment. Now,
yeah,
Cream Puff is not part of the Field of Dreams. Cream Puff is my daily drive. The Field of Dreams is the stuff that doesn't run, and but Busted Grill Garage also said that the Field of Dreams has been a source of.
Yeah, I was going to highlight that one, but then the chat scrolled past it.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, I've sourced some parts for him. Of course, you know, he's local to me. Me and him have been friends for quite a while, and actually the crankshaft in the 350 that he's working on right now came out of my lean-to. We pulled the engine. That engine he brought in to have it tested on my test stand. It didn't work out, so we tore it down, and the crankshaft needed to be turned. I was like, wait a minute, I think I got a crankshaft. And so we went out there, and I dug around, and like, I remember exactly which engine that was out of, if I still have it, if it's not a rust ball. And it had just a little bit of surface rust here and there, and we kind of polished it up with some emery cloth and worked out great. So yeah,
awesome.
That Field of Dreams is nice sometimes.
Buff says he knows Cream Puff's not from the Field of Dreams. He's just giving you a hard time. So I have one that, and I don't know how many people. I found out about this a few years ago, but car-part.com. It's like a online search engine for junkyards nationwide. And rarely have I looked on there for a part and not been able to find it in a junkyard somewhere in the United States.
Yeah.
Like I've actually found a bunch of the parts that I need for the Fury. I haven't ordered them yet, but for the Fury, even for that 66 Fury, you can find all the little like taillights and the glass and different parts. And a lot of times, like they'll put some of the parts on there, but then if you call the junkyard, they'll have more parts of that car available. It's just and I don't remember. I think I was at a salvage yard and they're like, have you checked carpart.com? And I'm like, I've never heard of that. And so that's one of my go-tos when I'm looking for something, when I want a used part or I need an original replacement part. not when I'm, there's no new parts. It's all, I mean, I guess there's some repop stuff on there, but it's all like the listings from all the junkyards all over the United States. Not all the junkyards, but some of the junkyards all over the United States.
At least the ones that add their parts into the system.
Yeah, and there's several of those systems. The one that we used at the junkyard I worked at when I was in high school, I think was called Hollander, and it's different. I'm sorry, I'm reading unfinished projects comment. Face my fury.
Face your furry what?
But it's not the same as Hollander. It's a different system. Hollander is another one but you have to have only the junkyards can access Hollander. This one's open to the public, and it's different. So there's just some cool parts, and like you can search when you search, you can search that by your location, so you can find all the junkyards around your area that have those cars. And if you're looking for small parts, sometimes you can even go to those junkyards and go out there and look through the car to see what, depending on some yards let you in, some yards won't. But you could actually go out there and look for what you're looking for. When you're working on obscure stuff like a 66 Fury, that helps. Square bodies seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that is one, I guess, bonus to what I work on pretty much 98% of the time.
Some stuff that is particular years and kind of when you're only things, and that could, something like that could be helpful for.
Yeah, it's like the delay wiper module for the earlier ones. They don't reproduce those. They don't make those. You can't go to the auto parts store and order that. So when I went to salvage, or when I go to salvage yards, I look for those. Those are a specific item I look for. And the last time I went to salvage yard, I found two of them, which cream puffs to 79, and the ones I found were from an 82. But I think they've got the same wiring. I'm not sure if it's the same module or not, but I'm gonna try to see if it'll work. It should work. Yeah, there's still some parts for these old trucks that's not just everywhere.
Busted Girl says there's a salvage yard right in your backyard that has a ridiculous amount of old Mopar.
Yes, it's John's Auto Salvage. I've actually been hearing. I need to go out there and see if they're still open to the public, because I've been hearing people say, or they're not sure if they're even still open to the public, but I think they are. But they're one of the old school salvage yards that's been around for at least 2 generations. Because I remember my dad back when he was in high school. He would go out there when he was in high school to get parts, and my grandpa would go out there to get parts.
Oh wow!
So it's been around for forever, and they didn't. What was it, back in like 2008, somewhere around there, when scrap prices went so high? They scrapped a lot of stuff, but they kept the old good stuff. It's an old school salvage yard. But I haven't been. I mean, it's just actually from my property. As the crow flies, it's just right over the hill. But I haven't been there forever. Like I said, most of my parts, that I need for my truck stuff, I usually have or can easily source. So I haven't gone out there in a while. But I need to go out there and see what all they have. See, I want to go out there and see if they'll let me make a video.
Yeah.
But they're one of those places. Sometimes you can go there and they'll let you in and do whatever you want. And then sometimes no, we ain't got that. And you're looking at a vehicle and you can almost see the part.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember going there when I was in high school. I needed a blower motor for my truck, a 73, which the blower motors are pretty much all the same for the square bodies. And I drove up there, And so I just looked for a blower motor for my truck. No, we ain't got any. And of course, pretty much most of the GM blower motors will fit.
Yeah.
No, we don't have anything. And I just turn around, and from the shop, you can see 5 or 6 square bodies trucks just sitting there with the hoods up, and I can see blower motors. I'm like, and I didn't even think about it, like, well, none of those would have one. I think I see one right there. Well, I guess we go look and see, and they tested it, and we pulled it out, tested it, and they said like $35. Like, okay, so I paid them $35. Well, at the time, a brand new one was probably, I think it was cheaper with the warranty. But at the point, I was like, well, I'm not going to tell them no. I just went ahead and paid them my money, and they took it. Yeah.
Yep. John's here. 6% recycled's here. A bunch of people have come in. Alan Williamson is here. I think that's all the new people. I'm probably missing people. The chat's going kind of crazy tonight.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So that also brings up, so today we went to kind of a different junkyard. It's not like one that I don't know that I've ever been to one like this before, but if you can find one in your area, it might be a good little hidey hole. This is actually an operating scrap yard where they like load scrap, but they have cars parked everywhere, and everything in there is for sale by the pound. I don't know that all the car parts are actually by the pound, but I think that a lot of them are, and they'll just let you go in there and tromp through the field. And I'll have to get with you and find out what that wiper delay module is, because there was probably 10 square body Chevys there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, see, on those delay modules, I'm not for sure. I haven't checked, but I'm assuming with the way GM is, that's probably they probably use the same module in all their cars of the same era too. But
yeah,
on the topic of regular scrap yards where you take your scrap and stuff, they usually have cars. I done one of my first videos, not one of my first few videos. I went to my local scrap yard, not the salvage yard, not a car salvage, the scrap yard like you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I knew they had tons of square bodies there, but they've been kind of picked through and crushed. Some of them you can't even get into the inside because they're flat. They're stacked underneath 5 other cars.
Yeah.
But I got some decent grills, tailgate hinges or straps, just small parts. And at the time they would sell everything by the pound. And I mean, sometimes I wouldn't even have any, the plastic stuff. They're not in the market to resell plastic. So I just tell them what I had, and they say, well, just, $20-$30 for whatever. I'd have, a bunch of stuff, air cleaners, just different random stuff that I thought might be able to use someday. But now that salvage yard, that company, they got their I don't know what they call it, but a license to resell parts like an actual salvage yard, auto salvage yard. So now if I went there, because before if I just found a fender or a tailgate or whatever, I could just get it by the pound.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they just, like I said, they would just say $20 for whatever you got in the truck. But now they resell auto parts by the part, and they're easy to deal with. It's still maybe just give me $5 for whatever you got in the truck. Who knows? But that is another good place to go for auto parts. You never know what you're going to find, because there may be like your Fury. You go to a scrap yard, and they may have a whole stack of cars been sitting there for 30 years, and you might find that taillight you need.
Yep.
There was at the scrapyard I was talking about, there's a 73 or 74 Chevy 1-ton underneath a stack of 5 or 6 cars, but the fenders are almost mint.
Oh wow!
No bubbly rust, no real dents or dings in them that can't be easily fixed. But to get to, I'd have to cut the door to get to the mounting bolts and stuff. I'd have to cut, you know. I did take like the on the 73, 74 grills, they have special mounting brackets for the grills, and I did get those that aren't. Some of them repopped, I think, but you know, little things like that are good to get from scrap yards.
Yeah. So I think quality control is trying to say we're not on topic anymore.
Oh, we still are, because it's a source of parts.
But so one that I'm reluctant but not ashamed to say is Amazon.
Yes.
I get a lot of stuff on Amazon.
Yep.
The big disclaimer for Amazon is you have to be a savvy shopper to find anything automotive related on Amazon, because the descriptions are absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And it is not a search engine that is meant for looking up car parts. So if you don't know your part number and know the interchange and everything else, but a lot of times, if I find parts a lot like I was talking about on Rock Auto, where the shipping is a problem, like I think I was ordering power steering hoses one day, and they were cheap. They're like $6-8 a piece, but they were coming from 3 different warehouses or whatever, and they had $12 shipping on each one of them. But we have Amazon Prime, so I just took the part numbers from Rock Auto, punched them in on Amazon, and I was able to get them and save all that shipping cost, because Amazon's shipping is, I don't know how they can make any money with the way they ship stuff, but
yeah, I don't know either. I've also bought a lot of stuff on Amazon, and I completely agree with you. The search part of it can be frustrating. For my Duramax, you know, I've got a whole box full of parts for my Duramax to put heaters on my my fuel filter and water separator for my fuel pump system that I got on it. And I ordered all that stuff through Amazon. Shop around, and if you have your part numbers, Amazon's usually got it. And if you got the Prime, usually it's free shipping and it gets here fairly quickly. And Auto Salvage Outlaw is saying eBay, what I was going to say next is eBay. I get a lot of stuff from eBay because, I mean, you may even find a used part.
Yes.
That is half the price on eBay. Or, I mean, if you have your part number, sometimes it can be a little tricky to do a search also, but not quite as bad as Amazon.
Yeah, it at least eBay has some type of filter for automotive stuff. Amazon, there is no. It's just a marketplace, and people are putting stuff on there, and it's the best. However they type the description is, that's basically what you get. There is no part number interchange. And Amber's reminded me of something here. So on Amazon, a lot of times, not all the time, but sometimes, if you look, there'll be like returns. And I don't remember exactly where it's at on the website, but it'll have the option, and I do this a lot, where like if you're, say, looking for, I'm trying to think of a good example. I just bought something recently. Just say you're looking for switches, like or butt connectors or brake lines or something, and you found the part that you want, there'll be several listings for that part. And occasionally, if you look in those listings, especially if you sort it by Prime, if it's sold by an Amazon warehouse and it gets returned, they mark it as like new used and sell it for a huge discount sometimes. So you can save a bunch more money there.
Yeah. See, I've never done that, so that'd be something I might look into.
Another one that we wrote down when we were talking about this, and I was actually talking with Edwin Barber about this yesterday, the day before. Bolts. Like if you go to the farm stores, like we have Roll King and Tractor Supply here, and I don't know if Tractor Supply does it, but Roll King does it for sure. You can buy bolts by the pound.
Yeah.
And you can get whatever grade you want. And Roll King here has the cheapest I've ever that even way back when that I can ever remember seeing grade 8 bolts. Right now, grade 8 bolts at Roll King are $3.69 a pound.
Yeah, I think Tractor Supply is the same way. I think it's by the pound. Yeah, I guess that'd be another good place to say the source parts or bolts or sometimes even fluids. You know, oil,
Yeah,
grease, stuff like that. You know, they may have specials and stuff on it, but your farm supply stores.
I buy most of my antifreeze and some of my if I'm there and you watch it, I buy a lot of my brake cleaner and carb cleaner and paint and things like that there because if they put it on, sometimes you can buy. I think it was after Thanksgiving. I don't remember when it was. They had a sale on brake cleaner. It was $2 a can, and it's Providence brand, and it works really good. I think it's every bit as good as the stuff that you can buy at O'Reilly, or maybe not as good as the really high dollar stuff. But as far as the stuff that I usually, I'm big on the what is it, Super Tech brand from Walmart. I buy a lot of their brake cleaner and stuff, and I have pretty good luck with that.
Did I miss something?
By the pound.
Okay. Over my head. Tough crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Amber said right under the price on Amazon is where it has other buying options.
Yes.
And sometimes it'll have like new used, or sometimes it'll say it just has damaged packaging. Occasionally it'll say it's missing parts. And we've done really well. We bought something one day and we did the like new used, and I don't remember what it was, but when it got here, it was not like new used. It was a core in the box that somebody returned. They did the core swap. And so, yeah.
Ouch.
But Amazon is also really good. When something like that happens, it's really easy to return stuff. I mean, you just punch in the return. They print out a little QR code, or you get a QR code on your phone. You just run it down to the UPS store and send it right back to them.
Yep.
Busted Grill said he's been testing out a penetrating lubricant by CRC called 656. You have to make a video.
I've been wanting to try the it's a 50-50 ratio of acetone and automatic transmission fluid. I've been seeing things pop up that's actually one of the best penetrating lubricants. So, man, I had a thought before that comment, and now it's gone.
Was it about Amazon and the free returns?
No. It was about in our with what we're doing as far as being YouTube creators, actually contacting the manufacturers. Some manufacturers may not work with you too much, but it has worked out in my favor. Instead of buying it through Summit, which they carry everything.
Yeah.
Go to the manufacturer of that part. That's what I did with the pistons for this 339. Is I just contacted DSS Racing, and that's something that I'm not really good at because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to ask for, and I don't like asking for handouts. But that's part of our game. and some people are better at than I am, but I contacted them, just called them direct, and they made me a really good deal on those. I've actually had the sales guy, I think his name is Nick. He's actually contacted me or had other people call me because he referred me to them about the questions on 305.
Yeah.
Like, well, it is what it is, but and he's actually sent me an email to, say, hey, how's it going? Everything going good? So it creates a relationship with them. And as of right now, they don't have any big block parts for big block Chevy,
Yeah.
which is weird because they have stuff for AMC. I mean, they had 60 over nitrous ready pistons for 305 with a 3 3/4 stroke and a 6-inch rod. They had exactly what I was needing, sitting on the shelf waiting. But they don't have any big block Chevy stuff, but they're working on it. And I know what's going to come in handy for me because that's going to be one of my next builds is big block.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'll be interested in trying some of that stuff out, and being directly in contact with them, that could help me out in the future. Some of these other companies, I've never contacted Holly or any of the big companies yet, but that could be something for YouTube creators that might be listening to this. Or, I mean,
Right.
I guess it doesn't even have to be that. Just anybody. Just say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Can you help me out? Can you make me a deal on this?
Yeah.
And, it never hurts to ask.
No, and sometimes if you contact the manufacturers, I mean, I don't know that your big companies like Holly and them are going to be very helpful, but the smaller ones like that, they might have something that was ordered for somebody else that isn't going to work out that might be what you need, and you could maybe get it at a deal. You never know until you call and ask. So one other one that I kind of wanted to throw in here because it's along the same lines as saving money, or really it is about saving money. And it's not something that you've done a lot of, but I know everybody's LS swapping and Hemi swapping. And I personally think the only way to do something like that is to buy the complete car of what you're wanting to pull something out of, because then you get all the parts to make it run in whatever you're trying to put it into.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you buy a used engine, but you don't get the wiring, you don't get especially if it's fuel injected, you don't get the computer, and you don't get all the other parts that make it work. If you're not going to go with a aftermarket fuel management system, you have to buy all that stuff separately. And sometimes that stuff can be really hard to find, especially like at your you pull and pay yards. There's never a wiring harness left on any of those cars because everybody just cuts them. So if you're doing a swap, especially with anything fuel injected, in my opinion, the best way you could get all the parts you need to do that swap is to find a wrecked or a broken down car. Like if you can find, a lot of times you can find a car that has the engine you want, but maybe has a bad transmission. You can get a really good deal on it. And then you get a running engine and all the parts you need to get that engine put into whatever you're trying to put it on. And Jeffrey and I were talking about this. Even if it's not fuel injected, like he was going to do a swap back in high school on I think he swapped a 350 into a Buick. Maybe I probably screwing the story up, but he did that even with that because he got the car, had all the exhaust to make it work, got all of the accessories to make it work. Because a lot of times if you're pulling one motor out, your power steering pump and water pump, fan, belts, alternator, all that, not all that stuff always transfers. I know on Chevys a lot of times it does, but especially on other vehicles, if you're going big to small block, I mean, if you have a vehicle, especially if you can get a good enough deal on it, you can have all the parts you need, and then you don't have to go out and buy all those brackets individually. And that's just one of the things that I do to try to save money when I'm doing something like that.
Yeah. And because that's kind of where I'm at with that 76, that auction truck that I bought. That it was originally a 3 on a tree.
Yeah.
There's no transmission, bell housing, or anything like that. Which I've got bell housings and I've got the clutch. Someone swapped it out, put an automatic in it at some point in time, but there's absolutely zero transmission in it right now. So there's no linkages for the shifter. The column, it's still got the 3-on-3 column, but I don't have the shift lever. I don't have the linkages going from the column to the transmission, those little parts.
Yeah.
So, and I was looking on Facebook Marketplace. I could find the 3-speed transmissions, but still you're going to pay $200 or $300 for a transmission, but you don't get any of the rest of the stuff. I could, if I could find a complete truck for $500 or $600, I'd be money ahead because I've got all the parts I need for the transmission. Then I've got all the extra stuff. Everything else would be extra. I have.
Go ahead.
No, I do have a transmission found. That's going to be a real reasonable price. Guy I've known for quite a while. He's got a transmission, but he's not sure if he's got any linkages or anything like that. So, I'm still maybe looking for a complete truck with all the linkages.
Well, and then like you said, and that was kind of my next point too. Not only do you get everything you need for the swap, but a lot of times if you're savvy and you buy it right, you can do your swap and then sell the rest of the car or parts off the car and get most of, if not all, the money you paid for the car back.
Yep.
And then it didn't cost you anything to do your engine swap. You could, and sometimes if you're really good at it and you really get lucky, you can make money on the deal and get your engine and all the parts you need to do your swap or fix your transmission. It requires having a space to put it and the ability to take it apart and store it and sell the parts and stuff. So that's not going to work for everybody. But if you have the space to put it somewhere, that's a lot of times you can get more parts for your money by just buying a whole vehicle for a few parts that you need off of it.
Yeah. Well, that's how I ended up with my rock crawler. Is I was thinking about building a rock crawler, and I was wanting to find the 203 full-time transfer case because to make a doubler with.
Okay.
You take the high-low gearbox off the front of that transfer case. It's kind of a 2-piece separate deal. They'll take the high-low part of that transfer case, and you can buy the adapters and everything and mount it in front of a gear drive 205. So you have double low. You have compound.
Oh wow.
So, and my oldest son said, "Hey, this guy, a guy we know, he has my son's stepdad's at the time old Blazer." He said it had 203 in it. I'm like, okay. So I asked the guy. I said, "Hey, you still got that Blazer?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "It's just been sitting in my yard forever." I'm like, "Okay, would you want to sell it?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Because all I'm wanting is a transfer case." He said, "Ah." He says, "It's worth $150 to you?" I'm like, "Sold." So give him $150 for it, and I drove it home. It's sat in his yard for like 10 years, or 5. It was like 5 years for that one. I drove it home. No, we trailered it home because the tires were about to fall apart. But after I got to the house, where I didn't care about the tires flying apart, we drove it out in the field, tires flying around. They hold air, but the tread was coming off. But yeah. Then it just like, well, instead of, I'll just use this as my rock crawler. So that's how that truck started, or that build started. I bought it for parts, but now, well, it needs an engine, but
I know there's an engine for it.
Yeah. And yeah, we know exactly how much horsepower it makes too.
Yeah, it is dyno tuned.
Yes, but that's one of the things, you buy something for parts and, it may turn into a whole nother project. You may end up with something better than what you thought you were getting.
Yes.
And change the whole direction of a build or start another build. Which that goes into the bad decisions we were talking about at the very beginning, bad financial decisions. Oh, I'm gonna buy parts for this project, and then you get the project or the parts vehicle. Like, oh wait, I'm gonna make a whole other project out of this one. So then you got 2 projects you're dumping money into.
Just looking in the comments here, I don't follow what's going on, so I think it's just people talking amongst themselves. So
I believe so.
one other one that was on my list here, and I just want to share it because and Amber's actually just posted it.
Is that Benchmark abrasives?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my new go-to for pretty much everything that they sell. I haven't bought anything from them yet that I don't like. Have you used Benchmark abrasives?
I used to quite a bit when I was doing the chainsaw thing, but for some reason I haven't bought anything from them in quite a few years. But yeah, I still get their emails and stuff.
I think you froze for a second. So, and absolutely no sponsorship or anything like that. But at one point, and I think they still do it, if you guys want to try it, if you go to Benchmark Abrasives, they have like a starter pack that you can get like 10 flap discs for like a 4.5-inch grinder. And it's like $10 for your first order, which is considerably cheaper than what they are. I mean, I guess not considerably cheaper. I don't remember what I paid for them the last time, but you get a assortment of different grits. But since I started out with that a long time ago, and then I never really bought anything from them, well, then somehow I got a Facebook ad from them, and I'm like, oh, I need to try them again. So I ordered some stuff from them. I tried their wire wheels, and I love them. Just the knotted wire wheels. They work way better than I was buying. I want to say 41s, but a name brand. And the ones that I got from them seem to be lasting longer and work better than those, and they're a lot cheaper. And then I got some little wire wheels for my drill bit, or for my drill. And then I also got the little roll lock, like the 3-inch roll lock discs. I've tried out those, and so far they're working really good too. So that's my go-to for. It's not hugely cheaper than buying any of the name brand stuffs, but it is cheaper. It's definitely not as cheap as Harbor Freight, but it works a lot better than the stuff. Like some of the Harbor Freight stuff is okay, but like their cutoff wheels for a 4.5-inch grinder, I think you more cutoff wheel gets ground away on every revolution than the metal you're trying to cut with those things. I just haven't had luck with.
I get the better stuff from Harbor Freight, the Hercules or whatever. Let me check real quick before I lie to anybody. I've been using their Hercules 4.5-inch cutoff wheels, and I've used a little bit of everything throughout the years, being in fabrication. And they're the 40,000s, the thinner ones. The thinner ones work better because I learned that a long time ago because I worked in one place. They had the real thick ones. Yeah, and they don't work as good.
I'm gonna see what size mine are.
But I've used the thinnest ones I could find for years, and they seem to last longer, and you get a smaller, cut, and it's less heat on your material.
I can't find the camera here. That's the ones I'm using. They're 40,000s. And I want to say that a 25 pack of these was under $20.
Oh yeah, that's well worth it. I need to get on Benchmark and check that out again because it's been years since I've ordered from them. But like I said, I
haven't tried them yet. But they have carbide bits, they have drill bits, they have hole saws, and they're definitely the cheapest on the hole saws. It's the cheapest ones I haven't tried them, so I don't know how great they are. But everything I've ordered from them, I really like. I bought a belt for my belt sander. It's a 4 by 36 inch, and I think it's a carbide belt, and it was like $6.
Wow.
So everything that I've got from them, I love, and that's one I wanted to share because and like I said, not sponsored, no affiliation whatsoever, but it's something that I found, and most of their stuff is made in the USA, so that's even better.
Yeah, that is better. I guess on the topic of tools, Harbor Freight is, I buy a lot of tools from there. Now, some of the tools, it depends on how hard you're going to use them, how long you're going to use them, or what you're using them for, if it's worth the cheaper price. But, it's like like some of your, like a 3/4-inch drive socket set. Most of the time you don't use that a bunch, but every once in a while you need a big socket. So that's one of the tools there that, especially back in the day, that was where they were really handy. But their quality of tools is coming up, and the price is staying reasonable. But I do buy a lot of stuff from Harbor Freight, and it depends on what it is. So far, all the quality stuff it's good. The backdraw to the bad thing about it is it's not made in the USA. I wish more of it was. We won't get into that, but anyway,
that's a topic for a different live. But I agree with you on Harbor Freight. Like, so when I had a mechanic shop and I was doing it every day, I bought a lot of the tool truck brands because they came to the shop and I didn't have to run to Harbor Freight to get it. And I mean, sometimes there's a difference, but like you're talking about a 3/4-inch drive socket set, the ones that I used even when I had a mechanic shop were a set that I think my dad got from the back of on a pickup truck at a parking lot sale or something. Yeah. And I would use them I had a big 3/4-inch impact, and I think I only ever, actually it was a 1-inch drive set, and I used them on the big 1-inch impact, and I only ever broke one of them, and when I broke it, it destroyed it. I actually welded it back together and used it for a while longer. But on that big stuff that you're not going to use all the time, I agree that it's not it's not worth what it would, to me, what it would cost to get that set in a SnapOn or Mac or something like that. For if you're using it, if it's something that you're going to use every day and you need to rely on it, maybe it'd be worth it. But
and that's the thing. It's kind of I guess kind of a starter thing. It's like, well, get that kind of stuff from Harbor Freight, and then if you use it enough to where it's not holding up, that's when you decide to make the investment on the good stuff. But there's no sense in making an investment on a $400 or $500 socket set from SnapOn if you're only going to use it 2 or 3 times in your lifetime.
Yes.
Or 2 or 3 times a year. I mean, it's just not worth it.
So we're about 2 minutes from going to the after hours show. We can continue this discussion over there. We can talk about how good your week's been if you want to change topics.
Well, I mean, if we get into that, I've got plenty to talk about, but I don't. I was going to get permission before I started unloading on everybody because, I mean, I got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm super excited about it. But this has been a good topic, and we could continue on with that for sure in the after hours.
Scarlett says, "I've had good luck with Tecton sockets. I think that's a brand you can find on Amazon." Amber put the link for the next live here. But before we leave, just want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us. And if you're interested in hearing the rest of the discussion, if we continue this topic or hear about what's the great things going on in Chad's life this week, we'll go over to that link that she put in there and we'll start it up in about 5 more minutes. If you're new, check out Chad's channel, and if you're not subscribed to our channels, we alternate this live every week back and forth between my channel and his, and it'll be on his week next week and on his channel next week, and we'll have something new to talk about, maybe have a topic or just talk about whatever comes up.
Usually I don't have much of a topic. It's just kind of pick up where we left off or just whatever's happening. So
yeah,
I'm not the creative one.
I'm not either. Quality
Yeah.
control. That's she's the creative one. But
Yep.
all right, guys, we will see you guys in about 5 minutes on the After Hour show. Thanks for coming.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.